Willkommen to the trainer closet where trainer secrets are revealed and tested. Individual results may vary depending on the genome, microbiome, and whatever else you do. Now here's Mike, he has his cup, he's drinking. Chelsea's running, Orest is talking, and today the word is creatine.
Creatine, I think it is the best supplement you can take if you're looking for any kind of muscular performance.
Okay. It's also the most tested one.
Yeah,
out there.
super
So,
safe.
Super safe, yeah. I mean, just for like, I think they have like 11,000 studies on it. And what is creatine? That is always like what I get asked. Any idea what creatine is?
Creatine is a chemical that's commonly found in meat, and we ingest it when we eat. It's also made in small amounts in our body, and it is used during the process of making energy for our muscles. Your muscles need energy to work, and during that process of creating energy, creatine is one of the ingredients.
The funniest thing in that direction is what I have read so far is like, well, what came closest to what it really is like a amino acid-like substance. So basically, amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and this one is basically built by glycine and arginine. So it's a compound made out of glycine and arginine. It's totally natural. Comes, you could actually sound it's like almost a protein too. It's just a smaller version of it. It's like just two amino acids. And yes, it is highly responsible for energy metabolism. And energy is the smallest currency is ATP. Mm-hmm. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and that gets converted to ADP, which is a diphosphate, and that phosphor boundage is the energy that your body needs for flex muscles, anything in your body. So like even hearing, your eyesight, your digestion, all those things. So creatine has an influence on almost any cell in your body. The only reason why we talk so much about it is with the muscle and building up is like that 90% of the creatine actually exists in your muscle cells. So that's where it is more, and that's the reason also why when we eat meat, which is basically the muscles of an animal, that's the best resource or source for creatine if you don't want to supplement with it. So what do you do supplementation-wise?
Creatine monohydrate is the most simple form of creatine. There's a lot of different kind of creatine you can intake, but in all my research, it just seems that the most simple form is the best form, and just find a trusted brand that sells creatine monohydrate. And I believe it's 5 milligrams.
5 grams.
5 grams. 5 grams.
It's kind of the maximum amount you should take. And the reason for that is basically your body, as we just kind of discussed, like uses it, and like then you can take some, about like if you eat normal meat amounts and everything is normal, you probably take about 1 gram in, so more or less like that. And basically the way I always try to explain it is kind of like a battery. So like with normal food intake, your battery is never fully charged with creatine. And so with creatine, you kind of make sure that the battery is fully charged, and therefore you can actually work out a little harder. And again, in that specific case, we have to talk about 3 different energy, the way we get energy is like one is chemically stored, and that's a creatine cycle, and then we have the glycolytic one, and then we have the aerobic one. And so right now we're just concentrating on the chemical stored energy. And ATP is one currency, and creatine phosphate basically transfers the ADP back to ATP and makes it happen everywhere in the cell. So
and it's mostly used during that anaerobic phase, am I right? It's mostly used during that 10-second burst, or during that 15-second burst, you would say?
Yeah, if you actually supplement with creatine, that can be elongated. If you're like fully,
Yes, yeah, your endurance and your threshold, your anaerobic threshold, your ability to, when you're benching your max bench press for 10 reps, that what used to be hard on rep 8, 9, and 10, now is easy, and you could probably even take it to 15. And I know creatine affects everybody differently, but I can say for sure these results that we're talking about, I've absolutely experienced every time I've taken creatine. I always try to build myself up with a little bit of a base with strength training before I get on creatine. And so let's say I'm doing 75 pound dumbbells for 10 reps on a flat dumbbell bench press. And you know, before I take creatine, rep 9 and 10 are pushing to failure. And then once I get on creatine, it never fails. Rep 9 and 10 at 75 pounds is almost super easy, and I'm able to push it up to 85 for 10 or 95 for 10 or...
Just a little question that, does that mean that you actually cycle on and off?
Yeah, I do cycle on and off, and I've read a lot about this, and it doesn't seem like there's any research out there that says you have to cycle on and off.
That's actually, I mean, basically the same thing as like, it's the same as like taking vitamin C. You want it to continuously, so like there's no reason for you to ever cycle off. It's kind of making, again, and it doesn't make sense also because again, we're talking, if your battery is charged, that's what you want to have.
Yep. There's no reason for you to cycle off, but you know, even though I take the most trusted brand of creatine, I don't love the idea that all the time I'm putting something made in a factory into my body. So scientifically, physiologically, maybe is not a reason to cycle off, but my reason that I cycle off is that I don't want to continually put anything in my body over a long term, because I think variation is one of the most important concepts when it comes to nutrition. You know, and then there's stuff that out there that people say a lot of times when they take creatine, they look bigger because your muscles hold more water.
I can explain. Yeah, it's basically water retention, and the reason for that is kind of an osmotic thing. So basically, if you have your muscle cell has a certain volume, so to speak, you get a little bit more of creatine in there. When water floats by, it wants to go there. So because of osmosis, you know, everything wants to even out, and so you hold a little bit more water, which actually is also one part of why you actually, you know, flexing a little better. No, it looks more, but also like there's something that then happens in your muscle cell, which is called the ionic load is getting lesser. So basically, in order for you to flex, your myosin and actin filaments, they build little salt bridges, and salt bridges are basically built from ions. And you know, if you have a lot of ions floating around in your muscle cell by itself, and if you have like more water in there, less of those floating ions can interfere with the actual contraction of your myosin and the actual muscle cells. So like your contraction will be getting better because of that too. And
so some people for that purpose will cycle off creatine to try to look a little bit more, you know, lean, less watery, more cut. Yeah. But it depends on what your body type is naturally. You might look better with more lean body mass. You might look better a little more cut. Figure out what works for you, and if you have any questions about creatine, put them in the comments.
Last little thing is like there's a 20 to 30% of people who do not react to creatine. So that's the only negative kind of thing. If you are one of the non-responders, you will waste money by buying creatine.
Yep.
All right. Comments.
See you next week.
And the cat is out of the closet or the bag?
The cat's in the closet.
It is in the closet?
Yep.
Okay, then the secret is out of the closet.
See you next week.